Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into money-making secrets of mind power masters. And wow, you sure have given us a lot to unpack here, like a goldmine of excerpts, really. We're going to explore how our thoughts, yeah, you heard that right, even just our thoughts, can unlock some serious wealth.
It's wild how these experts all say that your mind is so important when it comes to attracting wealth. And it goes way beyond just thinking positive. They get into some really interesting stuff. You got quantum physics, subconscious programming, the law of attraction. It's almost like our brains are, I don't know, hardwired for abundance.
Yeah.
But we just need to figure out how to use it.
Yeah, like we've all got this inner money magnet, but most of us haven't quite figured out how to use it yet.
Right.
One of the experts, Dr. Robert Anthony, he talks about something called rapid manifestation. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
This whole idea that we attract what we're actively, like right now in this present moment, what we're feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, think about it this way. If you're always stressed about bills and money, you're putting out this lack energy, But if you can shift that focus, even just for a few minutes every day, to feeling grateful for what you do have, picturing yourself like you're already living that abundant life, you start to vibrate at a different frequency, right? Mm-hmm. And the universe, it picks up on that.
Okay, I gotta be honest, that whole vibrating at a frequency thing, that's a little out there even for me. But I think I get what you're saying. It's like what you focus on, it just gets bigger, right? You start to see more opportunities. You make decisions from a place of abundance instead of feeling like you're lacking something.
You got it. It's not magic or anything. It's about getting your inner world, those thoughts and feelings, lined up with what you want in your outer world. And Dr. Jill Ammon Wexler, she talks about how our brains are always rewiring themselves based on what we're thinking. So when you focus on abundance, you're literally rewiring your brain to attract more of it.
Wow, that's kind of mind-blowing. So it's not that we're stuck with the way we think about money now. We can actually train our brains to think differently about money.
You absolutely can.
That's pretty empowering.
Yeah, it is. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not all just thinking. You have to take action, too. But it all starts with that inner shift.
Right.
It's like, you wouldn't, plant a seed in soil that's totally dead and expect it to grow, right? You got to nurture the soil first. And that's what we're doing with our minds. We're making that soil, fertile so that wealth can grow.
Okay, I like that. That's a really good analogy. So how do we start to cultivate that abundance mindset?
Mm-hmm.
Because life happens, right? And it's so easy to slip back into worrying and thinking from that place of scarcity. Our sources had some interesting strategies for that, didn't they?
They did. One that really stuck with me was the penny principle.
The penny principle.
It sounds kind of simple, but it's really about shifting your energy.
Yeah, I got to admit, when I first read about picking up pennies to attract wealth, I was like, really? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's not about the pennies themselves. It's about what it's telling your subconscious,
You got it. It's about being open to receiving abundance in all its forms. Even those seemingly small, insignificant things like pennies on the ground. Because if you're dismissing the small stuff, what else are you blocking without even realizing it?
That's a really good point. It's like you're saying yes to the universe. You're showing that you're ready to receive.
Exactly. And it goes hand in hand with this idea of acting as if you're already wealthy.
Yeah, okay.
Now, hold on. Before you go out and lease a Ferrari.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about making these small, deliberate changes in your everyday life.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example. I need a visual.
Okay, so imagine you're at your favorite coffee shop. Instead of always going for the cheapest thing on the menu because you're, watching your budget, what if you ordered your absolute favorite drink, savor every sip, really enjoy the experience?
So you're saying treat yourself, even if it's just a really good cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's about aligning your actions with the reality you want to create. And it goes beyond just the stuff, too. How would a wealthy person carry themselves? How would they talk to other people? How would they approach their work?
Right. It's about embodying that abundance in everything you do. And I can see how that connects to the whole subconscious programming thing. If you're always acting like you don't have enough, it's going to be tough to break free from that cycle, isn't it?
Exactly. But when you start making those choices that reflect abundance, even in those small everyday things, you start to reprogram your thinking. And that's where gratitude comes in. It's like adding fuel to that fire of abundance.
Speaking of gratitude, our sources had a lot to say about that, didn't they? It's like every single expert we read had something to say about gratitude. What is it about being grateful that seems to attract wealth?
Well, Jeff Staniforth, he actually called it like the key, right? The
No.
key to getting anything you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like this. When you're feeling grateful before you actually have the thing you want, you can't see it yet, you're basically saying, I trust you, universe. It strengthens this belief that things are already working out for you.
It's like saying thank you in advance. Like, it's already on its way, even if you can't see it yet.
Exactly. And that feeling, that gratitude, it's high vibe. You know what I mean? Think about a time when you felt truly grateful for something. It feels good, it's expansive, it's joyful, it just feels abundant. And then, the law of attraction says that like attracts like. So the more gratitude you can drum up, the more you attract things to be grateful for. It's a pretty cool cycle.
Okay, I'm sold. I want in on that positive feedback loop. Sign me up. But it's not just about feeling grateful, right? Do you see a lot of our experts talk about actually taking action on those feelings?
Absolutely. You can't just think it, you got to live it. One of the things that really stood out to me was the treat others how you want to be treated strategy.
Okay, treat others how you want to be treated. Now, that just sounds like, basic good manners. What's the wealth connection there?
It's about using that golden rule idea, but on purpose and in every part of your life, especially work and business. Alan says he had this great story about how it changed everything for him. He said, imagine, let's say you're a writer. Instead of writing what you think will sell, what if you just wrote the book that you would love to read?
Yeah.
Or if you're in sales, right? You sell to people the way you would actually want to be sold to. You're honest. You actually care about them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
Really trying to get what they need, what they want, and then trying to actually give them something that's valuable to them.
Exactly. It's a win-win because you're coming from this place of service, actually trying to give something valuable, and that naturally leads to more abundance for everybody.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, building those real connections and creating something really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to shift gears a little bit here and talk about this idea of the invisible network, because I got to admit, this one's a little out there, even for me.
I hear you, but trust me on this one. It's not as mystical as it sounds. David Cameron and Bob Proctor, they're not talking about a secret society or anything. They're really just talking about how everything is connected. We're all part of this, I don't know, this web of energy and consciousness, and it's always interacting.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying. It's like we're all putting out these vibes, these signals all the time, and the universe is always responding to that, right?
Yes. And they're saying that when we start to realize this network is there, when we start paying attention to those little signs and connections, we can actually use that to get what we want.
Okay, so how do we do that? We can't exactly Google invisible network login, can we?
You got that right. It's much more about tuning in to your intuition. Those gut feelings, those times when things just click into place? They're saying we get guidance and information all the time through this invisible network, but we're so busy we just don't notice it.
So it's about quieting all the noise and
Yeah.
listening to that inner voice.
Exactly. And it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and the easier it is to trust those little nudges, You start to trust that the universe is going to guide you.
I like that surrendering a little bit, trusting there's a bigger plan, which actually reminds me of those money myths that we talked about, like those beliefs that could be holding us back without us even realizing it.
Yeah, for sure. One of the big ones that comes to mind is that saying money is the root of all evil. Reed Byron and Randy Gage, they weren't having it.
Yeah.
They were like, nope, it's not money itself that's bad. It's our relationship with it. All that fear and greed and scarcity, that's the problem.
I always thought that quote was taken out of context. It's the love of money, not the money itself.
There you go. Money is just a tool, right? Just like any other tool, you can use it for good, you can use it for bad.
So it's about shifting how we see money. It's neutral. It's something we can use to make good things happen, to support ourselves and other people, and to reach our goals.
Exactly. Another one they talk about is this idea that you have to work like crazy to be wealthy. And yeah, hard work is important, but they were saying that if you're always grinding, always hustling, that can actually backfire on you.
Wait, you mean like burning the midnight oil could actually repel wealth?
That's what they were suggesting, yeah. It's about working smarter, not harder, Do things that feel good and still get you where you want to go.
Okay, I am all about working smarter. What are they suggesting? How do we actually do that when it comes to attracting wealth?
Well, one thing they emphasized was focusing on your strengths, those things you're naturally good at.
Yeah.
The things that light you up, that you could do all day and not feel drained. It's about finding ways to use those talents to create something valuable.
So working from a place of passion and purpose instead of just chasing a paycheck.
Exactly. When you're doing what you love, it doesn't even feel like work. And that feeling of joy and purpose, man, that's a magnet for abundance right there.
I'm sensing a theme here. Alignment. Get your thoughts aligned, your beliefs, your actions, all pointing in the same direction towards that abundance you want.
I love it.
But what about those beliefs that we don't even know we have, those subconscious blocks? Could those be messing things up for us?
That's where it gets a little tricky. Brian Tracy and Stuart Lichtman, they really go deep on this whole subconscious mind thing. It's like this hidden part of ourselves that's running the show, but we don't even realize it.
It's like that iceberg thing. Right, we only see the tip, but there's a whole lot going on underneath the surface.
Exactly. And they're saying that if you want to really change your relationship with money, you've got to deal with those deep down beliefs that could be holding you back.
So how do you even get to those subconscious beliefs? It's not like we can just be like, hey, subconscious, what's the problem?
Right. It takes a bit more than that. They suggested things like, maybe hypnotherapy, affirmations, visualizations, even just journaling can be helpful to bring those beliefs to the surface.
So it's about creating the space for those beliefs to come out so you can really look at them.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that this is an ongoing thing. Our subconscious is always being programmed by what we experience, the people around us, the media, everything. So it's about being mindful of what you're letting in.
So be picky about your thoughts, your self-talk, who you hang out with.
Yeah.
Create an environment that supports you and what you want to believe about yourself.
Yes. Own that subconscious programming. You have the power to create the reality you want. And speaking of creating, several experts talked about thinking bigger when it comes to financial goals. They said a lot of times our own beliefs are holding us back.
You hear that a lot, right? You can't achieve what you don't believe is possible.
Yeah, exactly. T. Harv Eker, he talked about something he called your financial thermostat. He said we all have this internal limit on how much wealth we think we deserve.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
So if you want to attract more, you got to raise that thermostat.
Yeah.
You got to believe you deserve it.
Exactly. And that might mean facing those limiting beliefs head on. Those voices in your head that are like, who are you kidding? Or, money doesn't grow on trees,
It's almost like we need to, I don't know, stretch our capacity to receive, like open ourselves up to a bigger reality.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Tom Paine talked about this idea of levels.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
Well, he was saying that we tend to get stuck at a certain level of, success because we surround ourselves with people who are at a similar level, right?
So you're saying, like, if you want to make more money, you need to hang out with people who already have money.
It's kind of like that, yeah. He talked about finding mentors or joining those mastermind groups. You could even just reach out to someone you admire, maybe ask for an informational interview, something like that. It's about being around people who inspire you to think bigger.
Right, like that whole thing. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly. And it's not even just about, using your network to get ahead. It's more about creating a supportive group, When you're around people who are already living the way you want to live, it helps you believe it's possible for you to.
You're immersed in that energy.
Yeah.
So, okay, this has been amazing. But we've talked a lot about mindset. We got to talk about taking action, right?
Yeah.
Because you can want it all day long, but if you don't actually do something.
Oh, absolutely. Action is key. Stuart Wilde, he called it the force of will projected. Like when you take what you want and you combine it with real intention, and then you back it up with action, man, that's powerful.
So it's not enough to just wish for it. You have to decide what you want and then get out there and make it happen.
Exactly. And as you start taking action, you're going to see more opportunities coming your way. It's like the universe is saying, let's go.
Okay, I like that. But what about when things get tough? Because building wealth, creating abundance, it's not always easy, right? I mean, there are going to be setbacks.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There are going to be challenges. You're going to have doubts. You're going to get scared sometimes. It's totally normal. But the people who succeed, they're the ones who just keep going.
It's not about being perfect. It's about getting back up when you fall down.
Exactly. And remembering that every challenge you face, it's a chance to learn and grow. A lot of times, those setbacks, they're leading us to something even better down the road.
It's so easy to forget that. We're all going to hit those bumps in the road, but it's how we choose to respond that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up here, I want to leave everyone with this. If the way we think and the things we believe really do have this huge impact on our finances, What are you doing that might be holding you back without you even realizing it?
Ooh, that is a powerful question. What beliefs about money are you holding on to that might be sabotaging your own success?
Maybe it's time to take a look at those old stories you've been telling yourself about money, the ones you learned growing up, and ask yourself, are these stories really true?
And if they're not, maybe it's time to write some new ones where you are worthy of receiving all the abundance life has to offer.
Beautiful. This is a journey, it's not a race. And there's always more to learn, more to experience, more to create.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into attracting wealth and abundance. We hope you walked away with some valuable insights today.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, you have the power to create a life of abundance. So get out there and make it happen.